And apparently the Irish immigrants were very clever people because they sort of just shoved their traditions in on All Hallows Eve. So they brought over the jack-o'-lanterns and they brought over the costumes. And I don't exactly know the mechanism of how this worked, but they basically were like, we're not celebrating the pagan holiday, we're celebrating your holiday, except we're using all of our pagan traditions. So thank your Irish immigrants that we get to dress up for Halloween and carve pumpkins because they snuck over the pageantry of Samhain right under the noses of the people who said they weren't allowed to. Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself and all of that? You didn't see that coming, did you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy October.
Happy official Halloween month for people who are normal. For those of you only listening, Kayla has a Halloween trick-or-treat bucket upside down on her head, and she's wearing orange because last minute I popped on her that I was going to be putting on my witch hat for this episode.
I'm a pumpkin. And once I take this off, because I can't balance it forever, just know that I am a pumpkin today.
In your heart. It's actually very appropriate. I'm going to hang my witch hat up. Ooh. Just because it's a lot to have a veil on my face. BRB.
Hey, turkeys, real quick, we want to tell you about our fun new free craft corner. Every quarter, in line with the equinox or solstice, we are going to send out new farts and crafts projects. You can find the link in the show notes. Just drop us your email. We promise not to spam you, but we'd love for you to join us. Now back to the show.
All right, everybody, welcome to October. We're excited to be here, I am especially excited. Kayla has officially joined the spooky season because we all know I start 1 month earlier. Happy belated birthday to Kayla.
Thank you.
How is 33?
I don't want to talk about it. I can't believe I'm 33.
I will be there in a month and a half, so we'll see you soon. Okay, well, because Kayla had some busy things in life, I have taken over the first episode of October planning, which feels appropriate. Even if you hadn't been busy, this seems like the right thing. So basically, today's just everything Halloween-y.
I'm excited. Thank you for taking over. I'm excited to hear what you bring to the table this week as we enter Hollow October.
Hollow October.
Hollow Earth. Just kidding.
Oh. Where'd the vampires come from? Okay, so here's how we're going to kick this off. I'm basically doing a history lesson today. So for people who don't like history, I'm sorry, but I never knew any of this, and it seems stupid for something I liked so much. So I went on a deep dive. But I'll start with what do you know any of the Halloween origins?
Do I? I feel like I've heard something about once a year the witch communities summon demons and do sacrifices, and it's like the time of the year the portal opens. This may be a conspiracy theory, and I'm just confusing facts with fiction. But I've heard witch communities summon demons at this time because apparently something with October 30th. The veil is thinner. I don't know. That's all I know, which is obviously not enough.
Well, it may come out of some of these history things that we're going to learn about today. So we'll see. We're going to start off with an etymological discussion of the word Halloween.
Okay.
Because who doesn't want to talk about where words came from? So apparently Halloween is a smushed together contraction of the phrase All Hallows Eve.
I did know that. Now that you said that, I forgot.
It only sounded familiar to me because of Hocus Pocus.
That's probably why. For me too.
Yes. Yes. Because we're kind of jumping around a little bit in history because I wanted this to flow. So All Hallows Eve is the first of like a 3-day Christian celebration from the olden days.
Sorry, I'm laughing because what I said is entirely opposite.
No. But okay. You're going to see where this comes from. We're getting there. Okay, so that's where All Hallows Eve is going to come from, apparently. There's the word that they used Oh, also, all my information is from Britannica.com because I was trying to one up myself and not just go on Wikipedia.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. So I think they called it a tree. I don't know. Some word that means 3-day celebration. That's all you need to know. So the first one was All Hallows Eve. That was on October 31st. Then you have All Saints Day on November the 1st and All Souls Day on November the 2nd. I don't know the difference between saints and souls. Did not go down those rabbit holes. Maybe we can look at them when we actually get to November. I'm just trying to focus. Okay, so that's where you've got that in England. You've got that coming over with the Pilgrims, all of those things. Let's rewind further back. We're going back to the pagan times in Ireland / the UK. UK people, don't come at me. I'm really bad at your geography. But everything on the internet said Ireland specifically, and then other parts of the UK were mentioned, where the Celtic people lived. And they celebrated, it is spelled Samhain. Okay, I have seen about 500 pronunciations for this word, and I don't know what's right. So the majority of the ones that I saw said it's pronounced Samhain or Samhain. But then I also saw some that if you're going to try to actually like pronounce it in Gaelic, it's so different. I'm not going to try. We're just going to say Samhain, okay? If it's wrong, somebody who is from Ireland, come on here and correct me. I'm doing my best, okay? Before I Googled it, I thought it was Sam Hain. So just everybody just, I got a little bit closer, okay? Okay. Anyway, so Samhain is where most of our traditions come from that we're familiar with.
Interesting.
Like your jack-o'-lanterns and your costumes. Here's why. It's believed in the Celtic tradition, allegedly according to Britannica, that this was the beginning of the new year. So November 1st was considered like how we celebrate January 1st. So that's your beginning of the new year and the start of winter. So I guess, I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so that's how the calendars were set up. And then 10/31, so the day before, it's believed that all the souls of the dead would come back to visit their homes and visit their loved ones. And people who had died the year prior went on to the afterworld. So basically, you have to hang around until the next 10/31. And then you do your grand return. And then also the souls of the past come back, which I think is where the witch thing comes from. Mm-hmm. Like the veil being thinner, because you see this repeated throughout at least a couple different cultures where on that specific day, the dead return. So maybe that's where some of that comes from.
Interesting. Okay.
Like the veil between life and death is thinner. Mm-hmm. This is so fun to me. Okay, so the souls of the dead come back. They have a whole festival honoring them. And I guess part of this also, I don't really know how the demon part comes in, but maybe there's souls who come back who are not nice.
True.
So apparently that's kind of where the costumes come from. People would wear masks, the tradition of wearing masks and getting dressed up so they wouldn't be recognized by ghosts. And then lighting fires to keep away evil spirits, which also apparently symbolize lighting of your hearth fire, which is what used to keep your house warm. It's also the kickoff of winter, kind of all of that symbolism. And then the like winding down of the harvest and fall and all of that.
Tracks.
Yes. And then also apparently this is where the jack-o'-lantern comes from, because they would carve demon faces into turnips. Apparently originally it was turnips before it was pumpkins. I can't even know how you would carve a turnip.
Face demon.
Yeah. And then you light that up, and then again, that's supposed to ward away evil spirits.
Whoa, okay, very interesting.
Isn't that so fun?
I just look logically or logistically, how do you do that?
Carve a turnip?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think I'll be trying this year. They're so hard.
And small.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know. Maybe they had big turnips in Ireland.
Or maybe they did back in the day and they've just gotten smaller over the years.
Right. We also probably aren't spending as much time cultivating turnips.
That's also valid.
Well, Another thing that I just needed to go down a side tangent about was
I just looked up. I'm sorry. I just
You
Googled.
looked up a turnip?
I did a Halloween jack-o'-lantern turnip. And there's some in here. I'm glad we switched to pumpkins, but it is doable.
Send me
This
the
looks
link.
like a lot of
I'll
work.
throw it on the screen.
Don't judge how I spelled the Google search because I got new nails on and I've misspelled almost every word. Halloween turnip jack-o'-lantern.
Whoa, these are definitely scarier.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
let me pull this up for
They kind of
everyone.
look like mummies just because of the skin on them.
Yeah, you're for sure correct.
I can't. Is a turnip the same thing as a radish?
I think a radish is smaller.
Okay, so maybe this. Okay, so this is easy.
Yeah, these are some pretty spooky looking dudes.
Look at my Google search.
Halloween turnip jack-o'-lantern. Ooh, I like this. I like these guys.
Oh
I
yeah,
like
those are
that.
good.
I kind of like that they naturally have a head. That's a big ass turnip. Okay, all right. Well, this is
So,
cute.
I'm glad we looked it up because it is doable. I don't know what I was thinking.
I think I was also kind of picturing more of a radish sized. Okay, now we're just getting into pumpkins. But all right, everyone, if you couldn't see that, they kind of just look like a moldy purple pumpkin.
It's true with hair.
Yeah, with hair, with spiky ass hair on top. Okay, well, that was cool. Anyways, now we do pumpkins. Maybe there were more turnips in Ireland. Okay, this is what I went on a side quest, but I also think it's interesting because from all of my days in Spanish class in high school, we always learned about Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, basically.
Yeah. But why a different date?
I don't think that it is. I think Day of the Dead is November 1st, but that's the night of midnight is when it rolls over. So it's like starting on 10/31, so on October 31st, you're doing all of the preparations and setting up for it to roll over to November 1st at midnight.
Makes sense.
I have learned that I cannot hang with a lot of Latin American traditions because a lot of them are really late at night.
You would be in bed like 4 hours before.
I'd have to set an alarm and wake back up. But I just think it's interesting because Day of the Dead also, same thing. They celebrate the past family members. Some of the things of how they get to you are a little bit different. I think they use a lot of, what's the carnation? Is that the orange flower? Marigolds, sorry.
Yes.
There's a lot of marigolds. It's supposed to lead the way. You make your little family, I don't know the word in English, like an altar.
Okay.
With the pictures of your family members. Anyway, same idea. The dead come back and they kind of go back to their families and everybody reconvenes and celebrates the lives of their ancestors and the people who've passed away. Wow. How fascinating that they also think this is happening in Ireland across the pond.
Yeah, super interesting. I wonder, and a different culture too. So maybe there's some truths to all of it.
I know. It makes me want somebody who's smarter than me and well-versed in anthropology to give me some more information about this. And I also kind of then wanted to go on a deep dive and find out what other cultures have a Day of the Dead of some sorts. Anyway, well, in the 7th century, true to form, the Roman Catholic Church was trying to stomp out all of the pagan traditions across Ireland because apparently we can't have anything fun. And they are actually the ones that set up All Saints Day on November the 1st. So basically you see this a lot when you start learning more about the origins of holidays, where there will be a pagan holiday and then the Catholic Church goes, no, and they sort of schedule something over the top of it. I believe crazy. Christmas is the same with, what was that, Festivus? I don't know. I'll have to learn more about that later. But that was already something, and that had to do with the winter solstice and those celebrations. And the Catholic Church was like, actually, Jesus was born this day. We're going to celebrate that instead.
That's crazy.
Isn't that so funny?
Thought about these things, yeah. So
they smashed All Saints Day on top of it. Well, the day after. And they just tried to kind of superimpose something Christian and get rid of the pagan tradition. I don't really know when the triad came in of All Hallows Eve and All Saints Day and All Souls Day, but we eventually end up there. You have then the colonists coming over to America, the Puritans, like we learned back in the olden days. So obviously they don't want any of these pagan things coming with them because how dare. they also tried to get rid of Samhain. They're like, we don't want to see none of this. Don't want to hear about any of it. It's All Saints Day. Everybody else shut the hell up. And apparently the Irish immigrants were very clever people because they sort of just shoved their traditions in on DL on All Hallows Eve. So they brought over the jack-o'-lanterns and they brought over the costumes. And I don't exactly know the mechanism of how this worked, but they basically were like, we're not celebrating the pagan holiday, we're celebrating your holiday, except we're using all of our pagan traditions. So thank your Irish immigrants that we get to dress up for Halloween and carve pumpkins because they snuck over the pageantry of Samhain right under the noses of the people who said they weren't allowed to.
That's crazy. It's interesting how people try to control cultural, or what would you call this, religious, I guess, type of traditions. And then they're just like, well, we're going to still keep doing it. We're just going to pretend like we're not, but we still are. And then it's become a whole thing.
You see a lot of this too, going back to Day of the Dead. The Catholics, with colonialism come over, bring Catholicism. We're doing this now. I think a lot of the pagan traditions and the, what's the word? Like the gods or whatever they were worshiping before, they just sort of swap out for the saints.
Okay.
So the iconography just changes and they just like swap out Mother Mary and do a little swappy do, but a lot of the same traditions still prevail with the altars and lighting of candles. And I don't know, it's just interesting. It's like you can try to force people into a box, but I think what they want to do is eventually going to squirt out, which should be a lesson to all of us in modern times, but we seem to not have the ability to learn that properly.
That's so crazy. I want to find more on why I was thinking a very different take on Halloween.
There is definitely in the pagan traditions the idea that the veil is thinner.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe
I'm sure
you just
that
don't want
they're
to celebrate that time because then you're getting too close or you're playing with fire or something.
I guess if you were going to do some type of ritual and try to contact the dead, that's when you should do it.
That makes sense. So it's just people taking something, obviously turning it bad or using it for their own evil good.
Yeah. Well,
unless they think something and then
unless they think demons are good. I guess if you're a Satanist, I definitely worked with a Satanist one time and he was adamant that he had to be off on Halloween. Adamant. And then he called
really?
it Devil's Day.
Oh, that's stressful. That's really stressful. Okay, this is so interesting. So I just was looking at this thing where I know that I've seen some information before, and she's saying basically the same thing you are, which is very interesting. Okay, so in the 18th century. Oh, never mind, just kidding. I thought she was going to say something about the Gregorian calendar. The fact that November 1st was the beginning of the year is weird to me. When did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know how much of a calendar the Celtic people were using. I don't know if they were tracking their years based on the year ends because the harvest season has ended. Mm-hmm. So then we're starting new once that's over. That didn't go very far down that rabbit hole.
It's just so interesting.
I do find it fascinating. I just think it's really interesting that this day seems to be an important day across numerous cultures, and the idea of the veil between life and death being thinner is a big repeating pattern.
Yes.
So maybe it's a good thing we didn't play with Ouija boards when we were kids on Halloween.
Okay, well, take out all of this stuff we just talked about. Yeah, don't ever touch one of those. I'm so glad we never did that. It's terrifying. There's going down a whole different path. There's so many scary stories, Kaylee. Don't ever touch one. Sorry.
I'm not going to.
Okay, go.
It's past the point. I just think all of this is so interesting. That's the moral of the story, is that I think this is all very interesting. My biggest takeaway was that I think it's sort of sad that we've lost the remembrance of the dead day. I just like that. I like the idea of death as rebirth, remembering your past family members. It sort of takes the spooky scaries away from a lot of ghost things. If you're a little bit more comfortable with the idea that people's souls might hang around or might come back to visit you, and it's just because they want to check in on their fam, not because they are wishing you ill. Again, loving the ability of cultures to keep their traditions within whatever the dominant culture wants them to do and just sort of worm them in there. Love that because I love costumes and jack-o'-lanterns.
It is interesting how there's always so much more backstory, and whether it's just American culture, capitalism, and people just wanting to make more money, it's how holidays in general have turned into just, you kind of forget the meaning behind it. Halloween, perfect example, we just talked about. Christmas, even if you're a Christian or Catholic or you believe that Jesus died, or excuse me, you believe, December 25th, all this stuff behind it, the Lord, whatever. The Lord, whatever. Sorry, God.
The Lord.
I'm still tired. But you don't think about it. You're just like, oh, it's Christmas. We get presents. Santa came down the chimney. What?
Yeah.
Where did it, like... But there's a whole history thing on Santa, too.
Yes, I definitely should go down the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's sort of fun peeling back the layer of when Christianity came through.
Yes.
I think Festivus is the reason that we put candles on the tree.
Did you put candles on the tree?
Sorry, it was candles in the olden days and now it's lights.
Oh, which makes sense. Festivus.
I keep getting these Instagram reels too. They really know what I'm doing. Anyway, if you celebrate Christmas and you love Jesus, there's nothing wrong with it. We don't know when he was born. It doesn't matter. You're just picking a day and it's in observance of the thing that you're celebrating. So I'm not trying to shit all over that, but I just do think it's funny the way the Catholic Church was just like, we do this now.
Okay, we're not anywhere near Christmas, but I just have to say this because I feel like maybe we put our foot in our mouth, or maybe you were right and I just misunderstood. According to the Googs, Festivus is quote, parody holiday conceived by author and editor Daniel O'Keefe. So it's a secular holiday celebrated on December 23rd as an alternative to the perceived pressures and commercialism of the Christmas season. I had no idea. This Festivus is a fake holiday invented by a Seinfeld writer.
That makes sense. This makes sense. I'm being a little dumb. The pagan one is Saturnalia.
Oh, well, that's why you didn't remember it, because...
Yeah, Festivus is the thing that they make up in Seinfeld.
Funny. But I knew what you were talking about.
But people are superimposing it over the top of like they're using that word and then putting it over the top of the pagan roots.
That makes sense. Now that's, yeah, there we go.
I just find all of it so interesting. Okay, well, here we go. Last but not least, I just want to wrap this up with maybe somewhat of a normal discussion if we lost you on history and pagans and Festivus. Whoops. Did you have a favorite Halloween costume from when you were a kid?
Really? When those blow-up ones came out, I never was one, but I thought those were so fun. Where you look like you're riding a cow, but you're not. I think those are funny.
Yes.
But me personally, I don't remember. There's a cute picture of me in a ladybug outfit, and that's about all I can remember. I was very young.
That's fair. I was not allowed to be anything scary or demonic.
Because then you'd be conjuring up, targeting yourself as I'm looking.
I don't know. According to the original tradition, that's what I should have been doing to keep scary things away from me. Anyway, I obviously grew up in a very evangelical home, and I'm surprised that we even were allowed to call it Halloween, because I know there's a bunch of people who have to call it something else, a holiday of Harvest Fest or something. Oh, so wow. I'm glad we at least got to use the word, and that I at least got to go trick-or-treating, but I was not allowed to be a witch, which is probably why I've overcorrected so hard. Anyway.
That's ironic.
No witches, no skeletons.
As you have a witch hat on your skeleton painting in the background.
I know. It's just, this is my personality. I also think, though, it might be more than just me, as I've learned from the Irish. Don't tell people what to do in their belief systems. Okay. Also, when you were a kid, did you like going out trick-or-treating or handing out candy?
When I was a kid, I would definitely like to go trick-or-treating, going out.
Me too. At some point, I did transition over to liking handing out the candy, though. I think it was in high school. I started feeling too old to be out asking for candy.
That's true. I get that.
All right, now that you guys... I don't know.
If you were handing out candy, I guess other
maybe
people
we
did it.
Got together and handed out candy?
I don't remember when I stopped. Anyway, sorry.
Me either. Well, now that you're adults, are you? Well, I think in the past, I know this answer. In the past, you guys were definitely a leave a bowl of candy out people, right?
Oh, yeah. We try so hard not to do that anymore. But yes, there was about a 4 to 5 year stint of just, we want to participate, but we don't really want to participate. So here's a bowl of candy. Try to only take a few.
No judgment. Now that you have a kiddo, are you going to try to hand out for at least a little bit while he can tolerate it? Or do you think he'll be scared
Yes.
of the costumes?
No, it'll be interesting. This year we're trying to figure out if we should walk around a little bit, even though he's way too young to
Yeah.
trick or treat entirely, but he can walk. So maybe we'll hand out candy, do a lap around the neighborhood, and then come back and just keep handing them out. If he gets scared, then one of us will just take him to the other side of the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's pretty much it. I just am excited for all of it and all of the traditions and watching you guys make traditions with your little bean sprout.
So fun. We got to come up with a costume for him. We're debating whether
Yeah.
we do just him or we do like a family thing. I'll let you know.
I can't wait. TBD. Please keep us posted because, and then also maybe we can post a picture if you do a family costume and we'll just put a little jack-o'-lantern over his face.
That'd be cute.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for tolerating my history lesson. This has been fun. I am for sure going to do this on Christmas and figure out all of the other things that I didn't know. And then I don't know. I'm going to keep doing this. I think there's more holidays to be discovered.
There's so much more information out there that we know that we don't know. So we should.
It's true. And obviously this was a layman's interpretation of Britannica. Thanks, Britannica. All right. But until next week, I love you. Bye.
Love you, bye.
Oh, wait, I forgot something.
Oh, yeah. What did we forget?
My bad. Okay, guys, listen. I'm still getting used to like getting my life together about making a tip of the week, but I'm just going to reiterate the fact that because it's the Halloween system, because it's the Halloween because it's the Halloween season. If you're a lady, you need to go out and get this mooncat nail polish. It's so fun. It's so cute. Please go find it. It's adorable. Their website is cool. Their purpose is nice. They're made in the US. I think they help rescue cats. Just fun colors. If you have a lady in your life that likes nail polish, get her some. If you have children that are of an appropriate age to nail polish themselves, get them some nail polish. Anyway, it's Mooncat. They have a bunch of different types. They're so fun. They have weird throwback things. They have Halloween-y ones. They're not all crazy looking. And then the magnetic kind where you like hold the magnet and it changes the color of the area where the magnet is.
That's crazy. Just magnet.
Okay.
Though. It's not like mood changing.
No. I feel like they might have some of that though.
That would be cool. Like a mood
They
ring,
do. They have a temperature one. Okay. Well, until next time, everybody go check them out. They're really fun and they're cute and their Instagram was fun. And until next time, for real, I love you. Bye. Spooky. God, I can't believe I almost forgot the entire outro like a lunatic.